Alright, welcome back. We're going to do another video today. I'm going to outline my leveling path from level 70 to level 80. As you can see on the screen, I've got 480s already. So the path I use is pretty well set. I'm not going to say it's the best leveling path or the fastest or the easiest or any of that. I mean, you know, you do what you want to do. This is just the way I do it. The first thing I'm going to say is if you have full rested, I really don't suggest dungeon spamming unless you're just, you know, amazingly geared and you find a group full of other amazingly geared people to where you can clear dungeons in 10 to 15 minutes. Otherwise, questing is probably your best bet. So, if that being said, if I have like, you know, a bar or two of rested experience, yeah, I'll go ahead and do dungeons. You know, I'm not that worried about that. But if I have full rested, I'm going to quest as much as possible and stretch the rested XP as far as I can. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I usually start out in Howling Fjords. Vengeance Landing. I do all the quests here, right? That's going to give you one of the dungeon quests for Utgard Keep. Is a chain that you have to finish these quests in Vengeance Landing to get. So once I have that quest for the dungeon, I may jump into that. I'll usually run Utgard Keep once, and there's 2 quests inside the dungeon. I'll pick those up, knock all 3 out in one run, and I'll be done with Utgard Keep. After I do Vengeance Landing, there are a couple quests right up here on top that I do. Then I move down to Niflvar. There's a couple quests. I think you pick them up right here. And I'll do a couple quests in Niflvar. After that, I'll move to New Agamemnon. I don't do all of the quests in this area. But I do, you know, probably 8 or 9 quests here. When you first get here and you start picking up these quests, also pick up this quest here at the Ancient Lift. One of the quests you get in New Agamemnon will send you down to this area, and the quest you pick up at the Ancient Lift goes to this area as well, so you can knock them both out at once. I usually do the quests in this little place. I don't even know what it's called. Howling. I usually do all of those and go ahead and turn those in. There are a few here that I don't mess with, but that's up to you, personal preference. If you like these quests, do them. If not, you can skip it. Usually at that point I move to Camagua. Now this is one of those cases where the first quest that you get in Camagua is called Feeding the Survivors or something like that, and you have to kill a bunch of shovel tusks and get meat, and I really hate this quest. But it's the first quest in a quest hub here, and if you can grit your teeth and make it through it, there's quite a few quests in this area. So I usually try to. But yeah, there's wolves that attack the shovel tusks, and it's really annoying. But if you know the area, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know the area and you decide to try it, well, you're about to find out. It's annoying. Anyways, do Camagua. Then there's some quests down at Scalawag Point. I usually do those. After I do these areas, I usually move to Camp Winterhoof. And what I'll do is I'll pick up the quests here. Some of them will send you up towards Grizzly Hills. You do those. You'll get a couple that to come over here to Giants Run. On the way to Giants Run, I usually pick up quests here at the Frozen Glade. Do those on, and then continue to Giants Run. You'll have to make this run back and forth from Camp Winterhoof to Giants Run several times. So usually what I do is I'll do a couple quests in the Frozen Glade, go to Giants Run, do the quests I have, go back to Camp Winterhoof, turn that in. I think the second quest for Frozen Glade are over here in the Vibrant Glade, maybe, or the Twisted Glade, one or the other. Anyways, after I turn in from Giants Run, I'll come down and do whichever one of these sets of quests it is, and then turn in at the Frozen Glade on my way to Giants Run again. And that'll give you another quest to go to the other glade, whichever one is first and second, I can't remember. I'll do my quest in Giants Run, start heading back and do the quests in the glade, whichever one you're on. Turn in at Camp Winterhoof and then go back to turn in at Frozen Glade. Go back to Giants Run. You get the point. You can be a little more efficient about your quest pathing. But you'll end up doing that kind of run several times, like 4 or 5 different times. Then there's another quest here at Camp Winterhoof that sends you into Scorn. There's probably 3 or 4 quests you can do here in Scorn. I usually do those. And that's usually all that I mess with in Howling Fjords. So at that point, I go ahead and go over to Borean Tundra. There's not a lot of quests I do in Borean Tundra. I do Warsong Hold. There's a few quests right around the outside of Warsong Hold here. I'll go ahead and do those. Then you'll get the quest that sends you to Garrosh's Landing, and there's like a little farm thing right here. I'll do those. At that point, I think this guy gives you a quest to come down to Riplash Strand, maybe. Or maybe you just have to run down here and do those. I usually do that quest. I don't necessarily do it at that point in the leveling. It's just, there's, like 2 or 3 quests you do right here, and then a couple more quests that will send you down to these islands. So, it's probably 5 or 6 quests. It's worth doing, but it's kind of a slower questing area. Anyways, after I finish all of this, though, all the main quests in this area around Warsong Hold, I go to Amber Ledge. I do all the quests here. That will send you to, well, I do all of the quests here except for the one that wants you to do the seismic reading at this cave up here. If you don't have flying, like if it isn't your second 80 and you don't have cold weather flying at 70, I wouldn't even bother doing this. But you finish the quest here at Amber Ledge, it sends you to Caldara. I do every quest in this area, mainly because there are 4 quests for the Nexus. 3 of them you have to do the chains, the quest chains in Caldara to get the other quests in the Nexus. So I do those quests, I run Nexus once, knock out the quests. There's 2 quests here in Cascala that are pretty decent to do. I usually do those. And there's a quest hub right here at this quarry. I usually do these. Now at this point, I'm usually almost like you're pretty much guaranteed to be level 72 or higher, maybe even 73. So at that point, I've done all the quests in Borean Tundra and Howling Fjords that I want to do, that I like to do. And I've done the dungeons for both zones and the quests inside the dungeons. At that point, I will move to Dragonblight. I usually come in from Borean Tundra. I start here at Agmar's Hammer. I do all the quests here. Well, for that matter, I pretty much do all of the quests in Dragonblight. I like Dragonblight. If you don't like Dragonblight, find a different way to get through these levels. But by the time that I am through with the quests in Dragonblight, I am a minimum of level 74. Usually 75. So I usually do all the quests in Dragonblight. I do the dungeons, Asjol, and Old Kingdom, and do the quests in those areas. And by that point, I'm 74 or 75, you know, at a minimum. So I also do the quests up here and do the Battle for Undercity. That's just part of Dragonblight for me. That's just the way I do it. Okay, at that point, when I'm done with Dragonblight, I move into Zul'Drak. And I pretty much clear this entire zone. I do all the quests here. Draktheron Keep, I usually don't even mess with in my leveling path, because the only quests for Draktheron Keep are chain quests in Grizzly Hills, and I just don't care for Grizzly Hills. Sometimes I will do just a few quests in Grizzly Hills to unlock the Conquest Pit, the Bear Pit, whatever it's called, I can't remember. It's like 5 or 6 quests that you can do throughout the zone, and then you'll have like an arena type questing area where you're gonna have to find a group right inside Conquest Hold. The rewards really aren't that great, and it does throw in the fact that you have to find a group for that last part. But on the other hand, it is probably 5 or 6 quests to unlock the Conquest Pit, and then the Conquest Pit itself is another, 5 or 6 quests. So it's not a waste of time. It's actually pretty good XP if you do that. It's just I don't really care for it all that much. Zul'Drak, I make sure that I do Volterus, all the quests there. There is one quest here where you ride on the giant and kill everything. That quest is bugged for me. I tried it a couple times. I was actually able to complete it once or twice, but honestly, that I've wrote that quest off. I don't even do that one anymore. It's just a pain in the ass. So when you come into Zul'Drak, you'll do Light's Breach, you'll do Ebon Watch, Volterus. Then I move to the Argent Strand. I do these quests. It'll send you up here to the Altar of Cerritus. There's a couple quests here. There will be a couple quests in this area. And then there's a couple of different quest hubs in this area that you do. And Colramus. I do all of those. At that point, I'll move to Zimtorga, do all of these quests. You have to go to the Altar of Harkoa, the Altar of Runok, Wetzlin, whatever, Zulmaz Stronghold. There's even a couple that take you to the Altar of Mamtoth. I do all those. I do the Inquest here where you let the big rhino loose. I don't even remember what it is. That will unlock a third quest for Zul'Drak. There are 2 quests here at the flight point that you can get for Zul'Drak. And at the end of the chain from doing all the different altars, you will get a third quest for Zul'Drak. At that point, I run Zul'Drak once for the quest, knock that out. So at this point, usually by the time I'm done with Zul'Drak, I am 77 usually by the time I finish this. Um, at, at some point during my questing in Zul'Drak, I'll put myself in looking for group for Violet Hold as well. I'll do that quest, once. Or I'll do that dungeon once for the quest. You pick the quest up for Violet Hold over here in the Violet Citadel. I think you have to be 75 to get the quest. And I'll go ahead and do that once as well. So at this point, I'm usually 77. And I will jump into the Storm Peaks. I'll do all of the quests around K3 and start the quest chain for the Brunhilder village. You have to, I think it starts with "They've got our men" or a quest name, something like that. You'll do a couple quests up here on top, then come back down here, then you'll be able to talk to the blue chick in the mine and go through the mine into Brunhilder village. You'll do all of these quests in Brunhilder village. I think from here, after you finish these quests, it sends you up to the Temple of Storms. You'll talk to Thorum. These quests are a pain in the ass because Thorum is going to send you down and back up, and you're going to get so sick of flying back. And it's a long flight, especially if you don't have fast flying. But it is worth doing. I do the Temple of Storms and unlock Thorum. The last quest for Thorum is up here at this Narver's Cradle, where you'll see him fight his brother Loken. At that point, once you finish that, the main guy, I can't even remember his name, but Dun Nephilim, the Frost Giant leader, will give you 2 quests for Halls of Lightning. Halls of Stone, there's 1 quest for that place that I know of, and it's inside the dungeon. So at any point during your questing here in Storm Peaks, if you get bored of questing, throw yourself in looking for group for Halls of Stone. It's worth doing at least once for the quest. I would save Halls of Lightning until you've unlocked both of the quests for it from Dun Nephilim, the Frost Giant guy there. Anyways, regardless, you're going to be doing a lot of quests for the Frost Giants here in Dun Nephilim to get rep with them. Some of them will be dailies. Go ahead and do them. You need to get honored at least with these guys on your trip through Storm Peaks, right? So there's quite a few quests here. Just go ahead and do them. There's also a few quests from Brunhilder Village that send you over to Valkyrian. Those are worth doing. It's 1 trip all the way over here. I usually try and work it into one of my trips back and forth to see Thorum at the Temple of Storms. I'll fly up, turn a quest. Okay, my headset died. But yeah, I'll fly up, try to turn in a quest for Thorum here, and then just drop down and do the Valkyrian quest, and then go back to Brunhilder. so you can work those quests into those trips. Usually at that point I am 78. At a minimum, I'm 78 by the time I've done all this, which means Halls of Lightning is fine to do at this point. At 78, you can start picking up the normal daily dungeon in Delirium, so go ahead and do that. You might as well. Then I moved to Icecrown. I do all the quests here at the Argent Vanguard. I unlock this place. This is what, Crusader's Pinnacle, maybe? Something like that. I get this flight point unlocked, and then there's the one quest up here. I usually do it. You don't have to. It's annoying as hell. You have to fly up here and back. Go back to here. That'll send you to Moonglade. He'll port you to Moonglade and then port you back, and then you come back up here. It's a whole deal. Anyways, after I unlock this, I usually fly up to the airship, flying over Icecrown. I start picking up these quests. There's a few here. There's a few here in Ymirheim. I do those, however you say that. I don't know. You'll also get the quest to unlock the Shadow Vault. I definitely do those. If at that point though, like I say, as long as, usually by the time I'm in this zone, I'm 78. So what I will do is I will be looking for the higher level normal dungeons at this point, and I run all of them at least one time. So one run of Halls of Lightning, one run of Culling of Strat, one run of Oculus, and is that it? Utgard Pinnacle. I do one run of all of those dungeons, do the dungeon quests that come with them, and by this point I'm almost always level 80. Now this is just the path I use. You don't have to. You know, if you don't like the quest areas I use, you know, go somewhere that you like the quest, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're looking at a minimum of 2 to 3 hours per level. Minimum. What that means is 20 to 30 hours of game time minimum to go from level 70 to level 80, and probably more, just depending on how gung-ho you are about it. So if you don't like Zul'Drak and you want to go to Shalazar, go to Shalazar. If you're a completionist and you want to do every quest in every zone, go for it. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Like I say, this is just the path that I use. It works for me. If it helps you, use it. If it doesn't, don't. But that's all I've got for you today. I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible, so yeah, if you liked the video, if it helped you in any way, leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz, and I'll see you next time.